In today's video, I'm giving you guys a behind the scenes look at how I operate my eBay store. We're going to be going over everything from how I receive the items, to how I process them, how I list them, how I take pictures of them, how I refurbish things, how I ship things. It's going to be an awesome video. Before we start, I want to really quickly go ahead and plug my new podcast, which is being hosted on Stereo every single week now, and it's linked down below if you want to go ahead and check that out. You guys can ask live questions on there, including different audio messages that you can send in live while we're doing it, and I'm doing it with my partner Airval. So if you guys aren't already following me on Stereo, be sure to go down below and follow me there. With that said, let's jump right into today's video. Starting off over here, guys, we have the actual receiving shelf in the warehouse, and this is where I take most of the things in. We've got everything from like random things like books and DVDs all the way over to like toys and just random stuff that I haven't dealt with. The majority of the video games though are over here, and this is like my pile of video game boxes that I still have to go through. There's probably like 300 games there that I had to go through, and it's just like a whole lot. But nevertheless, this is the receiving shelf, so everything that comes into the warehouse or into the office here starts off right here. You guys might notice one of the things I deal with down here is the low headroom, and that's always, kind of been an issue. That's like the number one most hated thing about this space is the lack of head space. But nevertheless, it still works for me because I can just slide under it. If I was a few inches taller, I wouldn't. Nevertheless, coming down to the bottom here, I just want to mention a couple things. First thing here, this is like overflowing, but this is all the extra packaging material. So everything that comes in here, it all gets stored in there. Right beside it, we have all of the clothing items that I have stored. So it's just sort of things on Poshmark and eBay, but those are all in that bin right there. That basically sort of concludes this area. And let's move on over to the wall. Okay, so the wall, as you see, includes like all the different video games. We've got bins numbered all the way from 1 all the way down to, I think we're almost at 50 now, but these all contain 18 video games each, or at least they started with that and they slowly sell through and then we refill them. But that's basically it. And it's a big wall. It's kind of been growing over the last couple of years, but it is where all the video games are stored. I would like to, possibly come up with something a little bit more efficient in the future. I think we can probably store about double the games per each shelf if we didn't have this bin system. So I'm working on that for sure, but for right now, this does do the trick. The bins are from the dollar store, if anybody's wondering, and the shelves, I think, are from Canadian Tire, but you can get them anywhere. They're just like resin shelves from Home Depot. And then coming over here, though, we just sort of continue down the line. After the video game stuff ends after the first two shelves, we get into some of the more wholesale items up here, a couple more bins of some loose discs, and then this is where I go into my partner store, and these are just all random things we picked up at Value Village that are for sale on eBay. At the bottom here, we've got a listing bin for some of the stuff that's listed there, and then a receiving bin for all the partnership stores. So that's sort of all in this area. So coming over to this side of the office now, let's pretend that we're a video game, because that's mainly what I deal with here. So let's say that it came off the receiving shelf, and we've got it right here. So the first thing that sort of that happens is it gets unloaded on this table right here, and you can see that we've got a whole bunch of games here. This is from a lot that I just recently split up with Airval, but that stuff's getting tested and gone through right now. But basically, we look at a game. I usually open it up and I make sure it's there, and then I will give a quick look at the bottom, and I'll see the condition of it. And depending on the condition, one of two things will happen. The first thing, if the condition is really good, is it will just come right over here to the testing shelf. This is a shelf that I created that has every single video game console that you would ever need on it. It's got everything from the original Xboxes at the bottom to the Wii's, the PlayStation 2s, PS3, the Xbox 360s. I realize I don't have all of the retro stuff here, but that's because I don't really deal with too much retro stuff on a regular basis. I have those somewhere else, and I can always pull them out if I need them. But, just sort of for the regular things that I deal with, this shelf does the trick. And you can see I have multiple of each console. It helps to speed up when I'm dealing with multiple, different games from the same console. Nevertheless, if a game is in good condition, it'll go right into here. We've got a bunch of switchers at the top, which allows us to switch to the different consoles. And the games just get tested and then eventually go over to the photo table. Option 2, though, and this is if a game is in really bad shape, it comes right over here to the JFJ Easy Pro. I usually do a little pile of them on the shipping table here, and then I can work through them slowly. But basically, I only use the white compound for anybody interested, and it takes about 2 minutes for each disc. But when a disc is, has any sort of severe scratches that don't allow it to be listed, or maybe it doesn't work, it'll come over here, get a quick run in the JFJ Easy Pro. Below it, actually, while we're over here, is a bunch of games that are either getting kind of liquidated, like some of these are just going to get wholesaled off. Some of these are also just not working, and they're waiting for being, refurbished to the machine, or they were lots I bought that I knew weren't working, so they're all sort of waiting over here to go through when I have some time. But that's sort of what goes on here. So one of two things happens to the game. After that, we come back over here to the table here, and this is where a lot of the work actually happens. You can see the lots get brought in here, things get tested and cleaned here and everything. But for the most part, what we're going to do after they go through these machines, if they don't have any stickers or any cracks on the case or anything else we have to deal with, they're going to go in a pile. One pile is going to be for things with manuals, one's going to be for things without manuals, because it makes it far easier to list when you have things categorized like that. and I'm going to set up a tripod with a little camera and an SD card, and we take pictures of all the items. Also, if you're wondering, all of the non-video game related items, for the most part, will come over here, get tested or cleaned, and then they'll get photographed here as well, and then they'll go over to my desk. But yeah, this is basically just the photo and testing table. Now, coming back over here for a second, because we skipped this shelf going by, we've got a whole shelf full of wholesale products. This was sort of something that I was into a couple years ago, which was trying to find some different products online through AliExpress and whatnot, wholesale them in here and sell them on eBay. It was a fairly successful store, actually. We did sell a whole bunch of products, and we were able to get a lot of great different sellers here. But the number one thing that I found was that the sell price on them just was not high enough, and it wasn't really paying enough. Even though the margins were great, the sell price itself wasn't enough, and I really didn't have a high enough scale to make any money with this. So it still sits here, and things still sell through, but I really don't spend too much time on that anymore. Also, really quickly, I have like a very small shelf of PS1 things that sort of sit here as well that I still had to get listed, but that'll be done one day. Let's continue with the journey of the game after it's been photographed and tested and been all cleaned up and nice and ready to go. We're gonna come over here and we're gonna create a little pile of them on my desk usually. Now, this could be anything from like a few of them to, at some points, I've had like 200 games sitting here ready to get listed after being photographed and cleaned. So they come here, and then what I do is I launch up my computer here. It's a MacBook Pro. It's a 2016, I believe, so it's half decent. And it comes over here, and they all get listed on eBay. So I plug in the SD card in the back. I upload all the pictures into eBay, and I sort of go through them all. And I do sell similars and all of them. I've got a bunch of videos on the channel if you want to see how I specifically go through and I test all these or list them all. But nevertheless, they all get listed on eBay. Usually on this side of the desk right here, I'll have like a couple different bins I pulled off the shelf that have some room in them, and then I'll be listing these games to those bins. And as I go, I change the custom SKU on eBay to the bin number, so then I can actually find the games once they sell over on the shelf. So once the game actually sells, then we come over here, and this is sort of where all the magic happens, because this is the shipping table. So let's specifically say I'm shipping a game. I got tons of, different equipment over here, and different sorts of sizes of bubble mailers and whatnot to ship all sorts of different items. But for a video game, I would come over here into my 7x9 pile, which is actually completely depleted right now. I'm waiting on an order from the States of about 200 to come in, but unfortunately I've run out here, which is unfortunate. But nevertheless, I would come over here and I would grab one of these guys and just simply slide the game in. Usually I put the buyer's label on it first. But you slide the game in there, you can seal it right up, and then the label will be right here. Goes Canada Post letter mail. I got plenty of videos about how I ship these as well. Something else interesting here, which is kind of just made up by me, but this is a little bit of cardboard, which I'll put behind any sort of loose game that's just a disc, and I can put it in a disc sleeve and then put it with this so it doesn't get bent during packaging. Just a nice little tip there. Anyway, so that's sort of the process of packaging the games up. As you can see, though, plenty of different bubble mailer here. Also coming over the other side, just more and more packaging material, some envelopes for some smaller things, and this is sort of a big mess, but we're definitely running low. Also some tape. We've got, the tape gun down here, a couple different scales, our customs packet forms. This over here is just a drawer full of all of the different things that we might use to pack things. Again, very messy, but we've got some tape in there and some scissors and all the sort of normal things you need, some plastic bags. We do have a heat sealer actually, which is quite fun, and we can use that to seal up new products in little bags like this. Just more tape, and then this is all some poly mailers down here. Even coming down below here, we've got plenty of different things that we can use to pack. A couple extra cases. I've got many more extras in another location, but we've got plenty of boxes here, different eBay boxes, Amazon boxes, and then at the bottom, just some console storage there for things that either need to get listed or are listed, but just again, something handy where I can grab some boxes. So let's say that I sell something that's not a video game, maybe it's something from the shared store over here, or maybe it's just something that doesn't fit in, your regular poly mailer or bubble envelope. That's when I come under here, and this is where I have a ton of different boxes that I've, things that have came into the house or random things that I've just found, lots that I've purchased. All the boxes get saved and reused, and they come under here. And again, I have basically every size under here, things that I can use to package anything that's not a normal video game. Also under here, you'll notice I've got a couple different vintage electronics and things that I've received. It's a little dark under there, but those are all things that either still need to get listed or are listed, just saving some extra storage space there. Finally, over here, I know a couple of you guys have asked about it. This is a cabinet that I just use for boring stuff like paperwork, receipts, all that sort of tax stuff, and that's just sort of that. Coming over here, you guys may have noticed this shelf off the bat. This used to be where the majority of my phones were. As you guys can see, probably we've sold through quite a few of them, mainly the Panasonics, but a couple of the VTechs as well. So I've got a few left here, but literally this time last year I had probably double this sitting on this shelf. So we've definitely scaled that back a little bit, which is nice. We've got some inbox items also stored down there. This is just more of the shared store kind of stuff, as well as some more miscellaneous items up here. But this stuff is all listed on eBay, and this was just sort of the other space in the warehouse where I could fit it. Coming right beside it, though, we also have a couple different boxes here from eBay. If you own an eBay store and you pay for it every month, you can actually get free boxes from eBay using the shipping coupon. So I've got plenty of different sizes there of eBay boxes I can also use to pack things. And with that, guys, that's going to conclude my office tour. I hope that gave you guys more insight into how I sort of run things here. I noticed that there's a lot of new people to the channel these days and might not have seen the office tour that I shot about a year ago, but also a lot of things have changed since then, and that one was sort of all over the place. I hope I sort of condensed things down here and really made it clear as to how I process different sorts of items, how I ship different sorts of items, and obviously there's some more detail in different videos on the channel here, but hopefully that just gave you some good oversight. With that said, I've got lots of exciting stuff planned for this week, including tons of different stuff that we're going to be listing on eBay, some different lots that I'm going to be getting in hopefully fairly soon here, and some really exciting ones actually. So you guys, if you're not subscribed to the channel, should be subscribing right now and hitting the little notification bell so you don't miss any of those future uploads. I know this video was a little bit shorter than usual, but again, I think it provided you guys hopefully with some really good value and insight into what I do here. If you guys enjoyed it and want to see some more content like this in the future, be sure to leave a like on this video, as well as comment down below your favorite part of my office or anything that you think that I could actually improve here, maybe something that I'm doing inefficiently, maybe that could help some other people out as well when they're planning out their space. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I will see you guys all in the next video.